I just can't believe this project worked. Let's make something new. So it's spring in Los Angeles and I have decided that I am going to try to make a garden. My friend sent me this video the other day about this self-watering garden hack that's actually made out of terracotta clay. And I was like, I have so much terracotta clay. This has just been sitting in my storage cabinet for such a long time. And I am going to try to throw a couple of garden oyas. I have never seen one of these before. I have never thrown one of these before. So it is going to be an experiment and an adventure, and we'll see if it works out. This is gonna be interesting. Oh, this is gonna kill me. We're gonna go smaller. All right. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so the shape that we're going for is kind of this bulbous bottom and then a skinny top. And eventually I will be creating a lid for it as well. Oh, it's actually quite soft. Let's start pulling up these walls. Oh, okay, we can fix this. I think this is good for number one. Yes, we have the general idea, but I want it to be bigger. There is garden oya number one. I'm gonna go throw like 4 more and I'll come back and show you what they look like. Oh my gosh! I did it. I threw 5 of the garden oyas in terracotta clay. Here's 4 of them. I have another one in the house. I absolutely loved throwing these. They're such fun shapes. Now it's time to trim them. They kind of have this narrow neck at the top. I gotta figure out how to trim these successfully. I have a couple ideas, so we're gonna do that right now. Oh my gosh, this is such a workout. Okay. Let's trim this oya. So this piece is leather hard. It just means I can handle it without leaving any fingerprints on it. We have a couple options when it comes to trimming a piece like this. When your piece is narrower on top than it is on bottom, it kind of just naturally is more unstable when you're trimming it. Normally, when you trim a piece, you flip it upside down, secure it with some clay, and you trim. This opening is actually wide enough that this may work. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try this out. We'll see how this goes. If we're talking about our desired shape, I want this to be as rounded as possible on the bottom.
Now, another way to trim a piece that looks like this, where it's really narrow at the opening, is to throw something called a chuck. A chuck is just a piece of clay that you throw that your piece can fit inside of, and it holds onto your piece.
This is the issue that you get.
As you just saw, since I wasn't using a chuck, my piece became unstable and decentered itself. So I had to go ahead and take a minute to recenter it.
Here she is. So much more lightweight. Oh my goodness. I think that this turned out really, really perfect. I'm so obsessed with this. I am gonna go ahead and trim the rest of these. And then what I wanna do is I want to make a lid. So you'll just have to see what we have in store for these little garden oyas when we make the lids. All right, so today we are going to make lids for our garden oyas. When you're throwing a lid, there's a little bit of guesswork that's involved. I know that the openings on my pieces are about 3 inches in diameter. I'm going to try to make a piece that's about 4 inches in diameter. On the inside, I'm gonna throw a part that has about a 2.5 inch I don't even know what to call it. And that will be what inserts into my piece so that the lid doesn't move around. And I'll show you how to do it. All right. All right, so we've got our centered clay. I'm actually gonna bring it out about another inch. Just like when you're making a plate, kind of compress so that your piece gets a little bit wider. Just using my sponge here. And then I just wanna make sure that I have some clay that I can bring up right here. Bring that in from the side a little bit. A little bit more, a little bit more. And that feels good. They're honestly really, really simple. And that's it right there. We'll wire this off. We will throw 5 more. Here are our lids, and it's time to trim them. Another very interesting trimming challenge. I need to trim off all of this right here and clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna have to put this part on the wheel head and secure it. I'm gonna try to secure it with a little bit of clay. Before we actually start trimming, we need to do a little bit of a measurement test. This is not going to be a perfect science because this has been drying for a week. This is bone dry. This is not. So this is still gonna shrink a little bit as it dries. So we can see that right now, this fits, which is great news. It means that as it shrinks, it is going to continue to fit. It's looking so cute. Oh, I cannot wait to see how these are finished. So I always start with kind of sponging off my wheel, just so that that little bit of moisture can attach to whatever I'm putting on the wheel head. So I'll push that down, and we'll start centering. A little bit. All right, we're gonna call that good. Let's attach this right here. I'm gonna start with our cheese grater tool. Really just kind of guessing at this point. All right. Here is our tiny little lid. We're gonna do a little bit of cleanup and then we're gonna add some flowers to the top.
So my idea with these lids is that I wanted to fill them with flowers that were always going to be blooming in my garden, no matter how any of the things that I planted turned out. So the first thing you can see me doing is scoring the surface of my lid. This is just creating a perfect canvas for me to attach as many flowers as I want to the lid. And for this lid, I wanted to make big flowers. Flowers that were so big that they could catch your eye from 10, 20 feet away if you were glancing over at the garden. So the technique that you're seeing me use right here isn't anything proprietary to me. It is not my signature technique. I actually saw it on Pinterest when I saw a cake decorator using this exact same method to create flowers out of fondant. I really think it's so cool how across different art forms, we can share techniques and different methods, especially across different mediums, and just create beautiful art. Now, I really haven't used this terracotta clay much when creating flowers, but I have done it a couple times, and I've always been so just out of my mind impressed with how beautiful these flowers look in this terracotta clay. So I'm just really excited for how this is going to look at the end. All right, a couple last little bits of cleanup so that this just looks perfect, and then we can just admire it. And let's go get this thing in the kiln because it's gonna fire beautifully. So I think I'm actually gonna fire these lids separately. While they look really dry, there's still a little bit of moisture in them, so there's a chance they could explode. I just don't wanna risk ruining the other pieces, so I think I'm just gonna fire these separately. This is the biggest one, and I'm so excited to see how it turns out. But still gonna fire it. Just have to be this dry. Good luck, little kiln, and we will see you tomorrow morning.
Oh my gosh, today's the day. We're opening the kiln so we can see our garden oyas. Pew, 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 pew. Okay, I see the lids. They look good so far. All right, so the kiln is currently at 200 degrees still. That's pretty hot. Normally I wait a little bit longer, but I just cannot wait another second. So in order to protect my fingers while I'm unloading the kiln, I'm going to put on a pair of gloves. If you watch my videos in the past, you know that I usually use a pair of garden gloves that my brother and sister-in-law gave to me last year, but I'm actually really excited because I have a new pair of gloves to put on today. So these gloves were sent to me. Am I an influencer? Look at how long they are. You know, these are for gardening, but for me, for unloading a kiln, having this extra coverage is actually so much safer. I also love that these come in different sizes. I have pretty big hands and these are size XL and they fit perfectly. This is gonna be my first time trying these out, which is really applicable because we're actually gonna be gardening right after this, and you better bet that these gloves are not just for the kiln, they are also going to be for my gardens. Okay, so on our first level, we have all of the lids. I'm really excited. Oh my gosh, a perfect firing. Oh my, I can't. This is a perfect terracotta oya. It seriously looks so perfect. It's funny because like I'm admiring it right now. I think it looks so beautiful, but this is gonna live the rest of its life in the ground. The only part that will be visible is just this little part right at the top. So cute though. I love it so much. Look at how different those are. Before we get these in the ground, I kind of want to test and see how well the water passes through these forms. So let's go set up a little science experiment to see how these garden oyas hold up. Okay, so far, I've got a tiny little drip right at the bottom. Got some moisture on the bottom, okay, which is good. I'm gonna do a time lapse. It's definitely working. I'm wondering if like there's ever gonna be condensation on the outside of this. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this out overnight. And maybe we check on it in the morning. If the water level goes down, because if the water level is going down, then in theory, water has come out.
It's really early, it's 7 a.m. and I need to show you what I'm seeing right now. Look, I'm gonna call this a success.
Hello. Okay, so I think the garden oyas work and I'm gonna show you. It has gone down at least an inch, maybe 2.
What does this tell us?
This works. And I'm planting this and all of its siblings today. It's time. So the goal today is that we're gonna dig holes that are probably about this deep so that, you know, just this little bit of the neck is showing outside of the dirt. Got my shovel, got my gloves, I've got my garden oyas, and we are ready to start gardening. All right. We're gonna plant some seeds right now. Dill right there. We've got arugula right here. We've got some spinach right here. A lot of lettuce mix. I threw so many seeds down. And basil. All right, so we will see how those go. I'll come back in a few weeks and let you know if we get any seedlings out of this, but for now, I'm so proud of how this turned out. I just think they look so cute. The fact that they are going to be watering my plants, but yeah, just really hoping that it does these plants well, and fingers crossed that I actually grow something. It has officially been 1 week since I planted my garden oyas and the seeds, and it's time to give you an update. So I get to walk by this space every single day, and it has been so exciting and so much fun to see the tiny little seeds begin to sprout because yes, almost all of my seeds have begun sprouting. Oh my gosh. This is so exciting. Look at that. And we've got tiniest little basil sprouts that just started. Great updates over here. I can't wait to show you where we're at next week. I think my favorite part about this, other than just the terracotta flowers being so cute sticking up in the garden, I really love how the plants growing around it, it's kind of making it look like a different kind of flower. How cute is this gonna be? Once this is like fully grown in spinach, it's just gonna be like green all around, and then this like red flower in the middle. I'm just so happy with how it's turning out so far. So I'll come back next week and give you guys another update. Bye, garden. All right, it has been another week and I cannot wait to show you how the garden looks. It's looking so cute. I just can't believe this project worked. Okay, so we're gonna focus on this one when we talk about how well the garden oyas have been doing. So I filled these up again like 2 days ago, and you can see how about, 2 inches of water came down. So it seems like about 1 inch of water is coming out per day. But I think the really cool thing about this one is that you can see how right around the base of the oya, the dirt is actually wet. In my mind means that the water is coming out of this guy and it is watering the soil and the plants around it, which was the goal. All in all, I am just absolutely thrilled with how these turned out. I went into this with just no expectations. I had no idea if this was gonna work. And overall, I think I can call it a success. Beyond the functionality of the garden oyas, I love how they look. I think it's such a fun way to mark that there is a garden here. And I love that all of my plants are going to grow around the red flowers that are just gonna be there the whole time. I feel like this season of my life, I have just taken so much joy in the space that I live in. I'm so lucky to live in such a beautiful place that is surrounded with flowers and has this little patch of dirt for me to grow a little garden in. So anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you to DLY for gifting me these gloves. I love them so much, and if you are interested in getting yourself a pair, I have a link down in the description for 10% off. I will be back next week with another fun video. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!